Well, hey there, viewer. If you've been owning reptiles for a few years, maybe you're just getting a little tired of the same old with, say, species like crested geckos. Maybe you're looking for animals that have just a little more intelligence to them. Maybe a bigger size? Or maybe you're just looking for a challenge yourself as reptiles go. Well, if you answered yes to any of those questions, maybe you're just here to look at some cool animals, I'd stick around. It's gonna be a good one. Completely honest, I totally forgot I was making these videos. Just so happens one day I was scrolling through my videos, seeing how they were doing view-wise, and I went across this one right here, and I said, oh hey, I'm gonna make a best 3 advanced reptiles if it gets this many likes, and it did get that many likes. I just forgot about it. So your next question probably is, Dakota, why is this a top 6 and not the best 3 like all the others? I couldn't condense it. I couldn't pick only 3 for this category, 'cause there's just so many good choices. I had to double it. So here we go, top 6 reptiles for advanced keepers. And of course we are gonna start the list off with number 1, chameleons. Now, there are quite a few chameleon species out there. We have veileds, jacksons, panthers. Okay, I only know 3 species, but I know there's more than 3. Although it's these different species, they all have varying in care, pretty much consensus goes as far as chameleons go, the care is pretty difficult. Chameleons just seem to be such a sensitive species that if you're not having that husbandry 100% right and all those parameters perfect for what the chameleon needs, you're kind of gonna have a bad time with them. They seem to just not do well if the care is not 100% correct, and they seem to go from sick to not alive pretty quickly. However, if you're someone like me that just loves the chameleon species and, doesn't matter about the care, I'll do whatever I can to get this thing the... If you're willing to go that extra step as far as care goes and make sure that everything is perfect for your pet chameleon, they make wonderful animals. Although short-lived, going from usually the regular reptiles, let's say crested geckos, I can go anywhere from 15 to 20 years, chameleons usually live around 5 to 8, depending on the species. With that being said, I think they just make amazing animals. There's always just so many cool things about the chameleons. Of course, the little forked legs going on, they've got the crazy 360-degree eyes, that sticky tongue that shoots out. I've made quite a few videos on my chameleon just because I'm so fascinated with the species and all of the amazing things that come with it. But hey, maybe you're not a lizard guy, maybe you're more of a snake man, you're looking for the most beautiful snake you can get. Well, I guess number 2 is going to be the one for you, and that's going to be emerald tree boas. Now specifically, I'm just going to talk about northerns just because of the fact that, Amazon basins run in the quadruple digits, and that's just the money I don't have, at least for emerald tree boas. Maybe if it was tokays, you know how I am with Now, emerald tree boas are amazing. They have such a fantastic color. That emerald green, the way that the scales look under a nice, scope like this macro lens right here, this little B-roll that I've got going on, they are just gorgeous. This one I have in particular has these amazing blue little spots here and there, and of course those amazing white bands just comes together to make a beautiful snake. However, just like the chameleon, emerald tree boas can be a little finicky as far as care goes. It's just one of those things that, again, if you're not doing everything just right and you have that husbandry dialed down, the emerald's gonna be a little bit more of a difficult scenario for you. Just goes to happen, if you're having any of those perimeters off, such as heat or humidity, the animal might refuse food, and then it's again one of those things that if... It's just gonna be another one of those things that if you don't have everything dialed in, the animal's gonna go rather quickly. Other challenges I found with emerald tree boas are the fact that, well, as feeding goes, usually, with your standard boa constrictor, ball python, things like this, you're usually feeding a pretty large sized meal. This is not the case with emerald tree boas. You wanna keep them at quite of a smaller meal as far as you would go with the typical ball python boa, just because of the fact that these guys are prone to prolapses. Then another con really about the emeralds is, well, they're not the nicest snake. Not only are these guys sensitive to handling, of course they have such a delicate tail that breaks very easily. The jaws themselves, the teeth, seem to break really easily as well. They also have a pretty feisty attitude. Of course, this comes with the northerns, not the basins. The Amazon basins seem to have a better demeanor as far as the northerns go, but we usually keep this little dude as more of a display animal than actually taking him out. The few times that I've taken him out just to, give him just clean the enclosure, daily maintenance, just stuff like that. So whenever I need to take him out to clean his perches, he usually tags me, and it's not pretty fun, especially, just as a boa this size, the bites aren't that bad, but once he gets to becoming an adult, those are some teeth that you don't want to mess with, and it's something that if you was going to bite, you want to avoid it, basically. If you're looking for a beautiful snake that makes a great display animal, something that's a little bit more of a challenge than, say, a crested gecko, the emerald tree boa is definitely for you. And then going on, let's talk about number 3. They're big, they're lovable, they're pretty smart, of course, black and white tegus. Well, not just black and white tegu. I mean, reds, blues, crosses, hybrids. There's a couple of tegus. The tegu species we'll talk about. Now, tegus make amazing animals, especially for someone that you're going in, getting into the large lizards. The tegu is pretty much the starter pack. Everyone that wants to get into monitor lizards, things like that, usually start out with a tegu first. But although not getting to the size of some of these larger monitors, such as blackthroats, Asian water monitors, they still get pretty big, coming in at anywhere from 3.5 to 4 feet. These lizards are going to need a pretty spacious enclosure. Usually the minimum requirement that people recommend is an 8 foot by 4 foot by 4 foot. Not only do they need a big space, they have a big appetite. Tegus, being omnivores, require a plentiful amount of different lean meats and veggies and fruits. It costs a little bit of money, especially if you're talking about a 4-foot animal getting anywhere from maxing out around 20 pounds. I mean, this is an animal that is going to eat. They just make amazing animals. I mean, the tegus have like this Labrador intelligence as far as like dogs go. They're happy-go-lucky, they're exploratory, and they're not... Tegus are like this perfect circle of... They are intelligent as far as like something, again, like a crested gecko goes. They're far more intelligent than that, but they're still kind of derpy when you get into like large lizard intelligence, so it's kind of like a dumb smart lizard, I would say. Someone's gonna be really upset that I called them dumb smart lizards, I can already tell. Tegus, they're just awesome. Of course, it was my dream reptile for quite a while. Every time, you have to do this. Where are you going? Where are you going? Of course, tegus were my dream reptile for years. Finally getting one, I am just amazed at this guy. They're beautiful. Personally, I love the classic black and white, but the colors are pretty nice as well. Very sociable. You can get them to like this puppy dog tame where they can just sit in your lap and hang out, explore, things like this. Tegus, amazing pets. Maybe you're looking for something a little more than the tegu. Maybe something a little bit semi-aquatic, semi-arboreal, something that gets to a little bit of a bigger size and has a little bit more intelligence. Well, I think Quince Monitors are the lizards for you. Number 4. 5? 4. 4. Shit. Yes, the lovely Quince Monitors. I think Quince Monitors are such an underrated species, People always talk about, like, you want the water monitors, bill blackthroats, savannas, ackies. Those are pretty much, the top 4 or 5, however I just listed right now. But Quince Monitors seem to get a little bit overlooked. It may be the fact that, being as far as not captive bred, they're very rarely captively bred. I think I know of 2, maybe 3 people that are doing it right now. So most of the time you're gonna get either an import or a captive hatched animal. That being said, I think they still make amazing animals. They calm down rather quickly with constant handling, just any of the monitor taming things that you would do, a little bit more shy as babies. They aren't as very personable as they are as adults, when you get these 4-foot animals. They stay a little bit more on the cautious side when they're young. That changes over time when they start gaining confidence as they grow in age. But now, while these guys are just incredible and beautiful, I mean, look at that just gorgeous yellow. This happens to be a high yellow animal, so actually when he comes to an adult, he'll be completely patternless for the most part and just obtain these bright highlighter yellow colors. Semi-arboreal and semi-aquatic monitor lizard sounds good. It can be a little bit of a challenge when you're putting that enclosure together. Maxing out at around 4.5 feet, these guys require large enclosures, and we're not talking about large like a standard 8x4x4. That's not gonna cut it with these guys. Not only do you need the depth and the width that you would for just because of being large, but also with it being semi-arboreal, you're gonna need some height in there, anywhere from 6 to 7 feet high. Big enclosure isn't going to be the only thing you're going to have to worry about. With them being a somewhat aquatic reptile loving the water, you're going to need a large water feature. Not only that, you're going to need a way to drain that water feature. When it comes to animals that really enjoy water, or water areas, they tend to, well, poop in them. We're not talking about snakes, people. We're not talking about poops once a week. No, we're talking about poops pretty much every other day. Might be a slight exaggeration, but we do know for sure that monitor lizard is going to poop in there. And you gotta have a way to clean that filter, clean that water area. You can't just let monitor poop just be sitting in your pond. No. Of course, also not semi-aquatic, these guys are also semi-arboreal, so the fact is, you'll have to make it arboreal, which means big limbs, branches, something where maybe a shelving system, something where that monitor can get up and high. We're not talking about, again, an arboreal like a crested gecko. You can find some branches outside for him. No, we're talking about big tree trunks. This animal, again, is going to get 4 to 4.5 feet high, and it's going to want to be 5 feet up in the air. But alright, we talked about enough cons. These are incredible lizards, they tame down pretty easily, of course, just stunningly beautiful, and with the right amount of work and the right size enclosure, they can make a fantastic pet for you. Moving on, you've probably already guessed it, it's in everyone's list, but you have to say, it's the advanced keepers list. Number 5, reticulated pythons. Now, do I really need to explain why reticulated pythons are on the advanced keepers list? Well, the size. Yeah. They're big. Depending on what locality of reticulated python you get, you can have a snake that maxes out anywhere from 15 to almost 20 feet long. That's a big animal. And hey, we've said it before and all the others, big animals require big setups. We are talking about a massive enclosure. Getting it to where a 20-foot animal can stretch out, that's a big space. Not only that, when you get into species such as reticulated python or really any of the larger constrictors, it's not a one-man job anymore. Having to do that, the weekly maintenance, clean the water bowls, clean the enclosure, feeding, just taking the animal out to handle. You really should have the buddy system with this. Having 2 people able to get that snake out for just in case, again, this is just an in-case scenario, something were to go wrong. Trying to get a, 18-foot snake off of you, that's going to be a bit of a challenge with one person. The buddy system seems to be the safest bet and one that I always recommend when getting into larger constrictors. Of course, just the fact that not only that, but they do have a pretty high food drive. So when it's feeding time, just, it's always good to understand the snake's body language and know, when that snake is in that feeding response, feeding mode, or when it's in another type of... I thought he was going to jump, so it totally ruined my train of thought. Big snakes, big enclosure, you need someone else for you. That's all the cons, but come on, let's get into the pros. And really, do I have to say it? They are gorgeous snakes. Oh my god. They just come in. Also, it seems to be getting into a bigger and bigger morph game with these guys. We're getting morphs such as pied, golden child, motleys, tigers. I can't on retic, so I'm not as familiar with retic morphs. Those are just some ones that come off the top of my head. But these guys are just beautiful. Not only that, they are also pretty intelligent as far as a snake goes. This is an animal that's going to be more engaging, somewhat more of a, what's the word? Just, I guess fun. I don't know, I think, anyway, what do you think's funner, a retic or a ball python? Come on, something that just sits there, something that's moving around, figuring the stuff out, etc., etc. Plus you own an 18-foot snake. Come on. That's bragging rights. No one else is gonna say it. I think you're a cool dude if you own an 18-foot snake. Properly cared for it, of course. If you're not caring for that snake, then you are not a cool dude. You can take that to the bank. Alright, this video's gone on long enough. There's been enough rambles about random species, but we saved the best for last, ladies and gentlemen. Smart, efficient, muscular, crazy, number 6, the Argus Monitor. For some of you guys that have been watching this channel, I have just fallen in love with my Argus Monitor. He is incredible. As far as intelligence goes, he is the smartest reptile that I have here at GBCB Exotics. He is amazing, he's cunning, he's just, fantastic. He's a fantastic animal. Hey, we're not here just to brag about how amazing Argus monitors are, because, God, are they cool. They are just cool. They tripod. Biggest pro of all, that animal stands up on 2 feet. It's like, oh man. Trust me, get an Argus monitor and then watch a tripod. Best animal by far. I own like 80 animals, best animal by far. Took 1 week, he's my favorite animal. All right, enough bragging. Let's get into some of these cons. Argus monitors, fairly large lizard. Again, we're getting into this 4 males on the occasionally can get almost 5 feet. So that is a pretty large lizard as far as that goes. Argus monitors, they're a little different than your standard monitor. These guys are leaner, they're not so much bulky, they're almost like slimmed down and muscular. They're like, I kind of call them like athletic monitor lizards. These guys are in shape and they're ready to use it. Not only are monitor lizards, you know, this almost 5 foot, you know, lean, mean, eating machine, they take a lot of food. And when you're dealing with when you're dealing with monitor lizards, this is something that's going to require mostly a whole prey diet. So anything like chicks, quail, rodents, things like this, leaner meats. So the bill goes a little bit up. Then, of course, we have to talk about the Argus monitor's feeding drive. My God, is this a food-motivated animal? I mean, this thing darts within a blink of an eye. It's going after food. They have a pretty rambunctious feeding response, so it's something that you definitely want to do some work such as target training, anything like this to make sure the animal knows what's food and, well, what's a pinky, because if he's going for it, he's going for it. That doesn't make any sense. They're a bit crazy and they are a bit of a challenge even as far as monitor lizards go. They're a little bit more difficult to tame down as far as your standard water monitor. Blackthroats, although I don't have personal experience, I've seen blackthroats seem to calm down a little bit easier. Argus monitors just have that spunky attitude. They're alert, they're hyper, they are an ADHD lizard, and they're incredible. I mean, my God, like I said, it's been like 2 weeks now, 2 weeks, I don't know, whenever this video is posted, it will be however long. I'm in love with this Argus monitor. He is an incredible species. So if you want a 4 to 5 foot Tasmanian devil reptile lizard, then Argus monitor, definitely for you. All right, Pebbles, I think that's wrapped it up. What do you think? What do you give this list? I mean, come on, 6? I thought they were pretty good, but let's, man. What's your opinion? Let's see, what do you think? I'll take it. There you have it, guys. The top 6 reptiles for advanced keepers. But now it's your turn. Leave me a comment in the comment section your top 6 favorite pick of advanced reptile lizards or snakes, reptiles. Yeah. And as always, if you liked the video, please feel free to give us a thumbs up. If you want to see some more of my animals or my breeding products, you can follow me here, over here, at that name right here. Hey, we're also on TikTok as well. I just forget to put it in sometimes. Like some merch designs, like these 2 designs right here. You can check that out at teespring.com/dbcbexotics. I have it in the description below where, hey, we also got Patreon, people. Patreon/dbcbexotics, where you can see animal pictures before anyone else, new animals and projects before anyone else, and even the chance to get first dibs and discounts on the reptiles I produce. You can check that all out down there at the description below. What do you think, Pebbles? What? Oh man. There was something else. What was it? Oh, you heard it here.